Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to episode 66 of the Black and Yellow with our beloved Denton Villa. As always, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you're going to be kind enough today to smash the like button. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. Go and catch up on the series. It's the best one on YouTube, I promise you. Go watch all my other content. I had a video out the other day. I hate Football Manager 2, basically. It's the second year where I've gone head to head with my best friend, Jamie Cardwell, who is a massive hater of Football Manager. He thinks it's the worst game on the planet. So we've gone head to head. He beat me last year, but did I get my revenge? You'll find out if you go and watch that video. You might have watched it already. If you have, thank you very much. This episode today, there's no live com. We're going to have a look at the awards and so on from the end of last year. We'll have a look at who won what at the end of last year. We're going to have a check on Manchester Central. I've done loads of transfers. It's been my busiest ever summer. We've really revamped the squad. I've sold a lot of youth players. I've released a lot of youth players. I've sold a lot of first team players. This year's a different year. Got a lot of new faces, a lot of new names you're going to have to learn. But I'm excited. I think I've laid the foundation here now until this series ends. I don't think I'll have to do anything like this again. Maybe just add a piece or two at each season. But yeah, I'm super happy. I've been really busy. But I'm going to show you it all. I'm going to share it all together. If you're feeling in a really good mood, you might want to help the channel, keep the channel going, keep the wife off my back, and pledge to my Patreon. You'll find a link to that down below in the description. So, without further ado, let's get going. And we're going to start here with our season review. Just have a look at the roundup of last year. Last year was pretty special. We didn't win anything. Well, the first team didn't. Don't forget the under-23s won the treble. But it was still a great year. I mean, we got knocked out in the group stages of the Champions League, but then we went to the Europa League and got to the quarter-final, where we came up against Chelsea. That's great for us. FA Cup 6th round, decent. The Carabao Cup was a bit let down, but I've not took that seriously for the last couple of years. It was the Premier League. Coming runners up in the Premier League was fantastic. We lost quite a few games, but we won a lot of games. We just didn't draw any. I think we drew one or two, something silly. It was just brilliant. I mean, we had some great results. We had some really crap results though as well. But I was really, really, really proud of the year. Can we do better than that this year? I don't know. Like I said, I've made a lot of changes. Now, this is the final league table from last season. I know you've seen it already. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about that I think are quite harsh. It shows you the pressures on these other big teams that are around us, the real big teams with the big wage bills or the financial pressure. Because, obviously, Man United won the league, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. Not because I'm a United fan, just to show you what a great season they've had. But what I'll just mention, Manchester City and Liverpool. Now, Liverpool, and you'll see probably why maybe the manager's been sacked, basically. But they got top four. They got to a couple of cup finals, and I'll show you them in a minute. But they still got top four, and he got the sack. Not only that, but Zidane at Man City. They sacked him as well, becoming third. So it just shows you the pressure, doesn't it, at City and Liverpool these days. And then you got little Denton Villa, in second. No pressure on me. So Manchester United, in fact, did the treble, which is amazing. I am a Manchester United fan. But United have kind of been quiet on it. They've been like rebuilding all the way up through this entire series. The league's been battling out. Liverpool and City have won the majority of them. So to come back out of nowhere, not only win the league, but to win the Champions League and the FA Cup, that's pretty cool, because if us as Villa, as a club, are starting to grow, and we're going to start challenging for top honours, I want to be going head to head with the best. And we know the best is Manchester United. Before we look at their results in the cup finals, let's start with the League Cup, the first cup final of any season. And Everton beat Liverpool, and this is probably one of the first punches in the Liverpool manager's face. To lose that cup against, their City rival ain't great. If you're an Everton fan, I'm sure you'd be very, very happy with this. And I was kind of happy with this, because Everton were the team that knocked us out. And I always say this, I always feel a bit better if the team that beats you is the team that wins it. Now on to the FA Cup, and this is maybe another reason why Zidane got the sack. Not only did he come third behind little Denton Villa, he lost the FA Cup final to Manchester United, 1-0. Leon Bailey got the goal. Looked like a really even game, to be fair, so it could have gone either way. And of course, it was the Champions League, and United beat Liverpool. This is another reason why I think the Liverpool manager got sacked. So that's what I mean. Liverpool and City aren't the best years. They finished top four, but they've lost cup finals, and both boards wanted new managers. Want to challenge the big two of Manchester, which is of course Denton and Man United next season. And it was definitely a year for English dominance, because Chelsea won the Europa League just on penalties, beating Paris Saint-Germain. I'll be honest with you, when I saw this, I know Chelsea are decent, they knocked us out, which is great again because they knocked us out, went on to win it. But I didn't think it was as good as Paris Saint-Germain on paper. But congratulations to them. And talking of cup finals, we're sort of in one. I didn't think about this, but when you come second in the Premier League and the winners of the Premier League wins the FA Cup, you go into the Charity Shield, which I think is pretty sweet. I think maybe the FA Cup runner-up should do it. What do you think? But it's not. It's us. So we're getting a trip to Wembley. I think we've been there for a while since we won the Carabao Cup. We're going head to Man United. It's going to be a good test. They're now the number one team in the country. It'll be a good test for my boys, but I've got a lot of new players, so I'm not bothered about winning or losing it. I'm going to play that off camera, and we'll have a look at the result at the end of the episode, and I'll show you the highlights if there are any highlights. Now, while I just mentioned Wembley, I thought let's stay on the stadium theme, and of course, all last season we were in the process of buying the University of Bolton Stadium. You might remember our spiritual home is in Denton at Shirley Hill. Even though it's a new stadium, they decided they didn't want to renovate it, so we moved into Bolton's and started to rent it. Bolton then decided that it wasn't good enough for them, and they've built themselves a much smaller, newer stadium, leaving this empty. And my board said, balls to that, let's buy it on the cheap. Brilliant. So we bought it. It can get improved, yada yada yada. Our permanent home is now in Bolton. Or is it? Well, it might not be, because straight away I thought, let's see it, let's have a look. Now we've bought it, can I actually ask? You get nowhere if you ask for anything, so I went straight to the board and said, can we build a new stadium? Yeah. The main reason behind the decision was that the Jolly Hatters' current ground, the University of Bolton Stadium, which we've just paid for, is an old venue with high maintenance costs, and the board felt it would be more beneficial to build a brand new stadium back in Manchester, back in Denton. No idea what it's going to be about yet, but we've got a little bit more information. It's going to be a 38,000 capacity stadium. They're going to build it near the Denton reservoirs. If you have a look at a map of East Manchester and you go near Denton, you'll see the reses. They look like a pair of giant underpants. It's a beautiful little stadium. 38,000, brilliant. No offence to Bolton and no offence to the University of Bolton Stadium, but it wasn't good enough for Bolton. We're not from Bolton, are we? We need to go back to Denton, and hopefully we're going to be returning home. This was the Championship at the end of last year, and our main rival, Manchester Central, are still in it. They managed to survive in 21st place, 2 points off relegation. Sunderland, Nottingham Forest and Brentford went down. Brentford, remember, Brad Friedel jumped ship to Brentford, and Central have stayed and they've gone down. I think that is called karma. JJ Okocha, though, Central's manager, has been sacked. They've got a new guy in called Dave something, some young guy I've never heard of. Luton, do you remember Luton, where my assistant went? They're doing really well. They finished 9th. Not only that, but my old assistant, Jamie, who's been there now 2 years, won Manager of the Year. Trouble is, he couldn't agree a new deal. They wouldn't offer him enough, and he said no. So now he's back to being unemployed. He's technically an assistant, which he was anyway. And his 2 year stint has finished. I mean, he got Sky Bet Championship Manager of the Year. Surely some teams are going to want to come for him. He was linked with the Sheffield Wednesday job, so we'll have to wait and see. I did offer him. I offered him the under 18s manager's job, but he said no. He'd come back only as an assistant. But I've now got Mikel Arteta, who is a great assistant, and I don't want to get rid of him. So I'm going to keep my eye on Jamie. Hopefully he'll get a job. I was hoping, though, he was going to stay at Luton, because he was, in the 2 years he's took him from relegation favourites to playoffs. So yeah, I'm a bit gutted about that. Lee, now you may have seen him, you should have seen him many times. I've talked about him, I flash his face up all the time, and he's done a great job with under 23s. They've got better and better. They've won leagues, he's got them into the Premier League. Last year they won the Premier League, the International Cup, which is like the Champions League, I think, and he won the Checkatrade Trophy. So he did the treble, he won everything he was in, and like I thought, teams came sniffing, and I think Burnley just got relegated. And he was linked with a couple of jobs. Someone's offered him a contract, so I just went for it, and we offered him a massive deal, £1 million a year. I've looked at a few other under 23 managers. He's now on at least 4 times more than any other in the Premier League. So he's got a 4-year deal, £4 million. Here's our best ever 11, and there's some absolute legends in here. A lot of them aren't here anymore. You've got Rob Evans in goal, JB, Hansen is still one of the centre-halves with Allison, Joe Page, Ellison, Chabert, Humphreys with Rambo and Tuppen on the wings with Stevens up top. Some great names. Some great names on the bench as well. It's been an emotional summer, I can't lie, because I've had to just stop being sentimental. If I want to kick this club on, I can just stay where we are and maybe even take a step back, but you need to progress as a football club. I've had to make really tough decisions and I just hope I don't piss some people off. It was time for the awards and here we are. You'll see our best 11 of the season. Tuppen, Rambo and Yosan up top. He had a good year, Yosan, to be fair. When you think I was trying to transition him into being a fully fledged striker. But yeah, I mean, that team did really well. Goalkeeper as well, I need to talk about him later, but he was brilliant. Rambo was Fans Player of the Year, with Vlatkovic and Tuppen behind him. Goal of the season was from Josh Stevens. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Dixon found Filipovic. He passed back to Kasama. He fed it through to Stevens. One touch, boom, with his left foot. Pick that out. Signing of the season was our leading goal scorer of the season, Victor Yosan, 45 million from Wolves. Young Player of the Season, Rambo, 24, young. Here we are with our commercial income now. Sponsorship apparently has gone down. Broadcast revenues went down. But we've signed loads of new deals. We've signed a massive deal with a financial services company. And we've signed loads of little individual ones as well. So I think things are still on the up. I think the club's still growing. Money seems to be okay. Blinkhorn, though, who's a great player, sold the most shirts, which I don't know why. I just found that a bit weird. But with all our new players, which I'm going to show you next, the bookies don't think we're going to be right up there, but they've got us up there. They've got us finishing 5th behind Chelsea, Liverpool, City, United, which, you know, fair enough. They are technically bigger than us. They've probably got more resources than us. But, you know, we can do special things. And I think we'll do better than that. I think top 2, top 3 again, really, with a bit of a title push. First out the door was our backup goalkeeper, Rob Evans. He's been a great servant to the club. He's one of our own. You know, he used to go out on loan and so on for the last few years. He has been our backup, and when he's come in, he has done a job. It's just, I think he deserves to be a number 1 somewhere else. And at a club like Barnsley, he's gone there for 2 million. He will be their number 1. He is their number 1. I just feel like it's not fair in being our backup, and he's never going to be my starter. He's been replaced by something I think is very special. Now, Wonder Kids, there's a lot of them, and I've signed a few of them, but what you might find is, let me know if you see this differently, is Wonder Kid goalkeepers are rare as rocking horse shit. Wonder Kids are 10 a penny on this game nowadays, nowhere near as special as they used to be, but try and find yourself a Wonder Kid goalkeeper. Well hard. But I've got one from Real Madrid B. He wanted to leave. We've signed him. He's cost us a bit, quite a lot really, 50 million for a backup, but he's only 18 years old. He'll be our starter one day. Next out the door is something I found difficult to do. I really found this difficult to do. I thought it was time to move on. Joe Page is a legend. Joe Page is a subscriber. He's one of my favourite subscribers. He's super loyal to the channel. But obviously this is football and business. And as good as he is, as good a servant he is, Denton Villa fan, all that good stuff. He's just not Premier League level in my opinion anymore. And I want him to play football. He's 24 years old. He's been replaced by another wonder kid. There's going to be a recurring theme here, called Danilo. Now, a lot of these new guys have got fancy long names. I've set a lot of nicknames to make it easier on myself. It only cost me 7 million. Got him from Italy. He's 20 years old. His physicals are outstanding. I think for 7 million, he's an absolute freaking bargain. Next player to leave was my backup left back last year, Bezic. Now, Bezic is a wonder kid, or he was when he was with us. He's no longer, now he's gone to Brighton, don't know why. And he was great. I didn't actually want to sell him, he wanted to leave because he got promoted to the first team last year, but he was a backup behind Gledson, the Brazilian. But he wasn't happy, he wants to be a first teamer. So, fair play, I've got my shortlist, I'll get myself a new left back. Don't you worry, Antonio Bezic. And I've brought in Kaya. That's not his real name, it's part of his name. Nice and short and nice and easy, because his real name was actual ball ache to say. But yeah, 18, again, wonder kid. It's not a 5-star wonder kid, and that's what I've talked about this on other things I do. I don't know how you can be a 4-star wonder kid. The wonder kids used to be special. I think unless you're a wonder kid, you should be a 5-star potential. So I'm taking it with a pinch of salt, but I'm just looking at his ability, his age. He'll be happy being a backup, especially for the next couple of years. Next player to leave is unfortunately one of our legends, Adam G. Although they put him in the 23s, I'm not sure about that. He did have that big injury. He didn't play a lot last year at all. But he's just never been there, has he? He was great for us coming up. He came out of nowhere. I missed him in a youth intake. I didn't even realise they had him, and he ended up playing one time because I was desperate and he did put performance in. He's played through me in midfield. He was just a great servant, but last few years he's just not going to get any better. He's been replaced by 21-year-old Dutch lad Chancel, we're calling him. Now he's not a wonder kid, and he's not like a blow you away superstar. 50 million is a decent amount. I just liked him. I think he's going to be a great fourth choice, and he's a definite upgrade from G. We've also lost another centre-half and another legend at the club. Ali Allison's been here absolutely ages. He's now 26, and he's good, as in he's got great mentals. Physicals aren't bad. His technique ain't great. He's 26. He wanted to play more football. We've got good money for him, to be fair. I mean, he's English, so you usually get good money for English centre-halves, don't you? But again, I'm hoping he does well. He's got Wolves, and Wolves are a good team, aren't it? It was just time to move on, so he's gone. He wanted to go, and I've got myself another wonder kid. And that wonder kid is Jaros. 18-year-old German, eh? From Stuttgart. Cheap as chips. 5 million quid, eh? Bargain. 12 grand a week. 5-star. Is sexual. Marking 17. Tackling 13. Positioning 14. This kid's a future superstar. An absolute bargain. Next player to leave, Stephen Ellison. You might recognise him, you might not. He's been here ages, but he's always been a squad player, really. He's never really figured for us too much, but he's a good player. And he's actually gone to bloody Borussia Dortmund. Now, I've replaced him with someone I like a lot, and he's cost me a lot. Marcos Vinicius was actually at Arsenal, but Arsenal obviously failed to qualify for Europe. He wanted to play European football. Quite a few teams came in for him, and I've pushed the boat out here. Maybe paid him too much a week, but I liked him, and he was the best kind of player in that position I think I could find. Can still improve. He's only 23. He's Brazilian. Next, we've got another emotional departure, and it's one of my first ever regens, and it is the Raven himself. He's been a backup left winger now for a couple of years. He's been here throughout the entire series, pretty much. And again, I just felt like at his age now, he's not going to get any better. He's not a Premier League player, although he's gone over to Porto, so that's pretty cool. He's a legend, but we had to do an upgrade, and we've done that, and we've spent a lot in doing it by buying Ruben. Potentially going to go up to about 45 million quid, which is a lot of money, but he's a wonder kid. Not a 5-star wonder kid, I know, but I think he's got the ability to become a lot better than he is right now. You know, sometimes you do deals in here and it's great and you get a great bargain. Sometimes you do a deal in here and you do question it. Maybe I've spent too much, but you know, it is what it is. We've bought him. Got to stay committed to him and try and improve him. Next player to leave is one of my Croatians. So out of all them Croatians I bought, I think I've only got one left now, which is his brother Filipovic, the right back. I mean, he's alright. When we signed him, he was young, and I thought he might have got a lot better, and he hasn't. He's pretty much stayed the same. He's a decent player. He's gone to Stoke, and we replaced him with another big-time signing. Danila is a 23-year-old Ukrainian, and he's going to give Rambo a right run for his money. He's left-footed though, but I think that's quite good because he'll be able to cut in onto his left foot, and I think he's brilliant. He's better than Rambo, to be fair. He's probably going to be my starting right winger because look at him. Next player out the door was my third choice striker from last year, Goran Matok. Now, he was alright. I brought him in. He's one of the Croatians who were brought in, and he went into the youth team, and he got into the first team. He's okay. He never even actually scored a freaking league goal for us though. And I gave him a few chances, and he played in cup games and so on. So it just wasn't working for us. So we got a bit of money for him, and we've definitely got a better replacement. We may have lost Raven, the Welsh wizard, but we've replaced him with James Evan, the new Welsh wizard. 19-year-old, who I am well happy with. Could potentially cost me 25 million quid. We've got him from Fulham, so no offence to Fulham, but he's definitely upgraded. I'd like his techniques to get a bit better. At least he's a decent finisher. He's off the ball. He's composed. But he's 19 and he's a 5-star. And I think he's got a big future. I'm happy. I think the future is great. And what I think is now that'll be it really for any kind of overhaul of the squad, because it's young. We've got talented players who are going to get better year on year. So I think going forward, as long as this series carries on, it'll just be every summer maybe by a Galactico or 2. Maybe. We'll see how it goes if needed. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm going to start needing to think about these good young players I've got and maybe start giving some of them a chance. But you've got to balance that, haven't you? We're trying to win stuff. I don't want to just float about being nearly men. I want to try and win something big. So I mean, the squad's looking alright. My back four's good. You've got Gled's got 2 good, got 4 really good fullbacks. Centre half's definitely improved. The central midfield, you've got Charbert, we've got Vinicius now as well. Blakovic, Blinkhorn, Dixon's still here. Kambassa as well, who's a great young prospect, was a wonder kid. So that, I think, is our strongest. Really happy with that. Going forward, I think we're stronger. Tuppen and Ruben on the left. Danila and Rambo on the right. And I've got 3 brilliant strikers now. Financially wise, we're not doing bad. I've spent over 100 million, but brought in close to 100 million as well. So we've not done too bad. Obviously, the wage bill's gone up. I've still got 54 million in the bank. I've got a new stadium on the way. I've got 30 million to spend, although I can't because everything's maxed out there. The financial fair play is red again, but it was like that last year. And by the time the season finished, it was switched to green. So again, I'm not going to worry about that. I think the club's in a good place, and I think I'm excited. I can't wait to get this season rolling, get stuck right into it. When it comes to my staff, I've been allowed 2 new coaches. So we've brought in 2 excellent coaches, and if you see now, if you look at all this, we've got loads. I mean, look at this. So good though. I mean, you always want it to be better. I'd love every one of these to be maxed out 5-star, but I don't think that's possible. But nothing's below a 4. That was my weakest. I think that was 3.5, and that was 3.5. So the 2 new staff guys brought in targeted those 2 positions. So they're now 4. So we are got the best staff we've ever had, and I am a big believer in your staff can help. And of course, I had a pre-season, and I like normally to have sometimes like 6 to 8 games, but I was that busy. Now I know you can let your assistant do it, but I like to do it myself pre-season. So I just start busy with all my just transfers and signings and it's not just the players you've just seen. I've sold other players in under 23s and releasing and all that stuff. I had too much to do. So I kept it simple with pre-season. We went on a 4-game tour to the States. I love going there. And then, of course, we had the Community Shield against Manchester United, the treble winners. And they beat us. They beat us 2-1. But it wasn't too bad. I mean, they had more chances than us, but I think we held our own. I think a lot of my new players did okay. Yosan got man of the match. He scored a goal. We missed a freaking penalty. Now, I don't know why I forgot to do my penalty. I always do it at the start of every year. When you reset up all your penalty takers, free kick takers, all that stuff. I'd done my captains and forgot to do my set pieces, and freaking my 4th choice centre half took the penalty. I'm just wondering when to come back though, because I want to shorten the season again. Last year started to get a bit long, and I don't want to do that again. I want to go back to maybe 4 episodes a year. So I was thinking of coming back around November-ish, possibly away at Anfield against Liverpool, or maybe the Champions League game that's quite important. Well, there we go. That is the end of episode 66. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to smash the like button, and hopefully you've enjoyed it enough to subscribe. If you're new, go and check out all my other videos. Thank you very much. Let me know what you think of the new look Villa. I'm excited for the future. I still think we can do well this year. I'm happy. I'm really happy. So yeah, thank you. Honestly, I can't wait for this new season. I can't wait to share it with you. I just want to give a big shout out to one of my subscribers, Pete Shepherd. This hat was for you, by the way, Pete. I know you were very unhappy with my Cowboys hat recently. You're a Redskins fan. Them 2 don't like each other. So I've done this just for you, Peter. But yeah, thank you very much. Honestly, you've been amazing. I've been Booed. I'll see you next time.